who I have today is Ben. Ben is one of our clients. We used to be 3.0 clients. Now he made the move on IC. Good job on that. Ben, thanks for coming in. Tell me a little bit more about yourself, Ben. Overall, I give you full mic. Do whatever you want. What you sell, what you do, and we go from there.
Yeah, so I spent 10 years in the renewable energy industry in various roles, and mostly doing some B2B sales, but also a lot of project management for solar projects. And I left that business, a business that ended up being sold, and got into this new B2B business of SaaS sales, so software as a service. And what we sell is leads to landowners for solar developers. So a lot of people sell leads. This is very unique in the lead space, because if you imagine the millions of parcels out there that are owned by different people, especially parcels out in the country, those people are hard to get a hold of. And so solar developers, for large farms, 400 acres of land where solar panels are being installed to produce energy, they have a hard time getting in touch with landowners. And we have every way that you could imagine to connect with a landowner. And then we at Landgate, where I work, we also have all of the data layers on electrical infrastructure, topography, exclusion zones, everything like that, for a solar developer to analyze land to see whether or not they should do a construction project and reach out to the developer.
And for how long have you been in sales, Ben? Besides the NEPQ and everything, like, what's the length of you being in sales?
10 years.
You've been in sales for 10 years. So tell us a little bit more about how you used to sell before. Like, what happened when you jump into the program, what changed, and all that jazz.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I am pretty big on doing trainings. I probably in the past 10 years spent about $60,000 on trainings. And so in the past, there's a fair amount of what you guys call traditional persuasion techniques that I went through. I've done NLP. I've done Grant Cardone. I've done a lot of the programs that are out there. Ty Lopez. You
definitely want the money back on that one.
So it's like I consume a lot of information, but I will say, honestly, that this model has been the most effective thing that I found. Because because of the fact that it's inherently not, it's not so much about persuasion as it is about helping both the seller and the buyer to forget about the fact that there's sales and that there's persuasion and everything like that, and really focus on the actual problems and the possible solutions. And so that's really just been a game changer for me, because it's like that mentality of finding the problem and being very clear about that for both parties just helps them make a better decision. And what I really enjoy about it is I was almost thinking about getting out of sales, because I was like, man, I don't like the perception of salespeople. It's like people don't trust me. They think I just want to sell them. That's the way that I felt. And it's just because I love renewable energy that I was like, this product is cool enough for the industry that I'm just going to do it anyways. But then in finding NEPQ, it's just like been brilliant, because now I couldn't be more stoked to come to work, because I just feel like I'm solving problems, and there's no more like awkward salesy things, because NEPQ shows how to just like crush that linguistically and it makes both parties more comfortable, and it makes my job fun because then it's just like I almost feel like a solar developer on their team, helping them to solve the problem to get more solar out there.
I can definitely relate to that because, like, I remember I've been selling since I was 14 years old, right? But I was pushing people into the door, like so type of things, and you can kind of get people don't understand, but it's like you have a shelf life, right? And there's just as much a stress that you can take. And some of those techniques taught in the past puts you in a position where you're always battling, always in the mix, always there. And I went, and you say something that actually made me think, which is like, hey, like, I think about to quit. So for you, what was the thinking behind that? And what was the timeline from like, hey, I want to quit to, hey, I want to stay? And what was the main things that made you change or that made you want to change and stay on? And of course, NEPQ is part of it, but it's like the overall feeling that you have on sales code that makes you want to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there was a lot involved, like anything. There was some chance. There was a lot of me talking to my friends. I mean, some people I went and I was like, hey, like, do you see me as a project manager or as a salesperson? Like, be honest. I'm making a decision, because I was thinking about working as the person that I now sell to. I was thinking about basically being a project manager, a developer. Yeah. And, first of all, everybody was like, nah, man, like, you're good at sales. Sales is hard. You should do that. And I was like, okay. But the thing that kept coming up for me is I was like, yeah, everybody knows me as a salesperson. I'd rather like be known as like, somebody who's out there crushing it, like getting the job done, getting solar panels out of them. And so it was almost like I wanted to let go of the sales identity because of all of the messiness with persuasion. And so that's why it's just been like relieving in finding NEPQ that I can let go of that piece where it's like, now I don't feel like a salesperson. I just feel like a problem solver. And it makes all the difference in closing deals, because it's like, it's just like, it ups my confidence. It like gets rid of all of this sort of baggage and helps both parties.
Do you want to tell us, like, because you mentioned closing deals, and we spoke about it before, but like how many deals have you closed last week? How's changed since, like, of course, you were using the old method, and in terms of closing the actual deal?
Yeah. So, last week, was my best week since coming on. This is a new job. I've been here 4 months, and it's super high pressure. There's a big expectation on me, just given my length of time as a salesperson and the people that I know in the industry. There was a lot of pressure, and frankly, before I wasn't closing very much. I had a few, people who just were easy to close because, you have those.
Yeah.
But then, as I've slowly been chipping away at the language that I use and the framework and the scripting that I've gotten feedback on from, all the players at 7th level and Sales Sniper, now it's kind of rolling in. Like last week was great. I closed a deal today. And yeah, man, it's all happening. And I think now I'm supposed to focus on larger clients, because now I have the credibility within my company to do that. And that's going to be my focus. And I feel entirely confident there.
Let's talk if you open, Ben, right? Because for me, it was a big one when I first started NEPQ. It was difficult for me to implement, right? It was really difficult. What was the struggle that you had going from like your old method and jumping into NEPQ? And when did you start kind of like sinking everything in and say, okay, this is coming along. Like, I know that I got it. Some people it's fast, some people it's slow. For my own, it was really slow. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it was slow for me too. To like, when you say to be honest, I mean, to be honest, at the beginning, I felt like I was getting worse, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just because I was like, I saw like what to do and it was in my head, but I
It
couldn't
just
quite
wasn't happening.
execute. Yeah. And so it's like, before I was used to a certain way. And so I was confident. So this made me less confident. So, you know, that wasn't good, but it was certainly worth it because then it got smoother and smoother, you know, but at first, yeah, it was like anxiety forming, but you know, it was worth getting through. And I wouldn't even say that I'm entirely there yet. Like I always process things slowly, and so there's a lot. That's why I'm in IC. That's why I'm in this to go further, is because there's a lot that I feel like I can reprogram. I get the structure now, I get how it all works, but myself, my brain, and my automatic responses, those are the things that I want to get better at reprogramming. But you know, right now, just by having a different framework, that's already, you know, helping me out tremendously.
Okay. And you already mentioned it a little bit, but it's like, what's the next step for you then? Like you get into bigger deals and stuff, but like, what do you feel now that you got the skills and everything? What's your career path moving forward from here? If you're open to tell us that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like the sky's the limit. Really, I feel a lot more empowered in any selling that I do, and I could see, you know, with being successful for, you know, a number of years with the work that I'm doing now, um, moving on in, you know, a couple of years to start my own sort of company just because of understanding sales so well.
Oh wow, that's great.
You know, and honestly, it's kind of cool because I feel like I could do that right now. Like I could. I don't just feel like it. I know that I could. It's just that it's so exciting right now with the way things are set up for me and with what we can do for the solar industry. It's like really brilliant because like what we're doing is going to have an impact on how much renewable energy is able to be implemented in the United States. We're literally accelerating renewable energy by having better sales methodology.
It's definitely the right structure for the right cause for solar, right? NEPQ really tells really well because it's the cause of why people want to have solar most of the times. It's really relatable to the fact of having a pushy process. Now, it might be cheesy for some of the people listening to this, but that's the way how I perceive it and view it. Like we work with just Robert, he's part of our coaches as well, and he said the same things. It's like it's such a topic where in the next 3 or 4 years is going to be really kind of like centered towards changing the planet. That having a pushy method doesn't really align to that. So the last question that I have for you, and by the way, I really, really enjoy it. Thanks for taking time to come here. Really appreciate it for that. Like, what's the advice that you give to someone besides just, hey, let's buy an NEPQ? That's pretty simple. But like, what's the advice that you give to someone that he was in the same position that you were before? Just like he's using a methodology that he knows that maybe doesn't work. He's close to getting burnt out. What's the main advice you give to someone like that?
I mean, it's really simple. It's like you can read about techniques in books all you want. You know, I do it extensively, but I find that there's nothing like immediate feedback. It's like if you go to Stephen Kotler's flow training about productivity and flow states and all this stuff, one of the main things they talk about is if you want to get better at something, you need immediate feedback. And in sales, it's like, yeah, you could do that, read a book and have immediate feedback with a bunch of leads and lose deals until you get better. But that's, you know, that's what's up with NEPQ is that you have all of this feedback and you're just able to accelerate so much faster by simulation, right? It's like a Richard, what I'll leave it with is like Richard Dawkins. Something that he says is about humans, he says, the survival machines that use trial and error will die, as opposed to the survival machines that use simulation, because trial and error is extremely costly, to help. And so it's the same thing here. It's like, there's a great structure, there's simulation. It's just going to help you improve faster.
Funny enough, you mentioned Steve Culver. I sold their team. I saw Rian, which is the CEO of the business. I think it was called Rian. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I saw them in NEPQ. So it's good. You just find it out when you came up with that. I'm actually a big believer that Steve is legit in that type of space. They teaching, let's say, call it mindset for a studio level, but it's like productivity and flow state is really legit. So if you guys are looking for like a productivity tool or something that allows you to kind of understand how to be more productive, Steve Calder and his books are really, really good. Yeah. Anything else from me? Now we got 6 minutes. So if you got any question, anything that I can help you out with, Ben, in terms of sales overall that you want to ask?
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I would say in terms of one of the main struggles that I have right now is actually contracts. So there's a lot of organizations where they see our tools and they say, oh my gosh, I want my whole team on this. But then they're like, oh man, we have to come up with a new agreement for you. We have to put this through accounting, and it could take 6 weeks to do that. And so I just don't know. It's kind of a B2B question, but have you ever dealt with that?
Yeah. All the time. So the most important thing is to understand about B2B, there is a complex environment, right? So for you to understand how to make the sales, you need to understand how they complexly make decisions. So that's why my process of like selling someone B2B is discovery. So it's like 30 minutes call, and I go through the entire script, demo, which I show them what we have, and proposal. And between discovery and demo and proposal, I will start gathering informations that I need to get them to make a decision. Because if they need someone else on the last call, then I need to know. I would generally ask them, hey man, what's the decision-making process for your company on something like this? And they will tell me like, I need the CFO. So would you be open to bringing to the last call so we can kind of see what he thinks about possibly help you with the, I don't know, getting more leads for your business? Right. So is having a process. So that's like there is sales scripts on one side, sales methodology on another one, and sales process is the middle. So you have to build the process that allows you to get where you want to go and to gather the people that you need to get. But if you don't understand the environment, which is complex, and you don't ask them how it works, there is a useless sales call. Like when I sold a pharmaceutical company, I sold Rian as well from Flow State. Difficult sales call, totally fucking difficult sales call, because the CEO was the one who made the decision on it. Taking that is like it took me one call more, so it took me 4 calls because I fucked up and I didn't got the right pets, so knowing the CEO was going to be the right decision. But if I would have asked him what's the decision making process, it would have gone like, he has the budget, I don't. So it's like you can ask the question that you need to have for understand how the hell they make decision. But also another good question that I have is this one: is what are the budgetary parameters that the company works with, so I can work and tailor things around you guys. But at least it gives me like, since some of them are corporate company, their budgeting makes from C-level executive, and they cannot go out of budget. So they're not like, for example, me try to sell you the inner circle and you can go and get a loan for it. It's not that interaction. It's like if they have a $30,000 budget, that's all they can work with. Now, of course, they can borrow the budget from other departments, yes, but it's like that's the way how they work. So knowing what they're coming with and what's their budgetary parameters helps you to tailor a proposal that makes sense for them. Because it's in their budget. Can go up, yes, because they can request more budget if they feel like it's going to be really impactful, which your product does. It is, right? But still, you are in the range. Like you don't go from like, hey, we got $30,000 allocated, we pitch you to that 250,000. It's too much of a jump. There's no chance that they're gonna do that.
Yeah. Well, and in the cases it takes a long time, you know. That's what I've seen.
Yeah, that's the thing. So now now it's like if you ask me to make a $120,000 decision on a $30,000 budget, what I have to do is convince the board. The way our company works is the board meeting has to be requested a month in advance. So they have to request a month. It's just like the logistic of it. But if you don't understand the logistic of like the entire place, because it's complex, then you're never gonna know if it's your sales process or it's actually their way of doing their day-to-day job.
Yeah,
that's the most important thing. Am I having a sales process issue, or is just the way how they trade? Because if the way how they trade, there's not really much you can do there.
Yeah.
Like when I saw the Novartis, a section of Novartis, they were doing like inhalators and stuff like that, right? They had to request a board meeting to do the decision. That took 60 days. But that's that board meeting. It's just the way it is. Because they got 24 members on a board for make a $120,000 decision, which is even stupid because the ticket for everybody to get to do that board meeting costs more than the thing. That's how company are. Right?
Yeah.
All right. That helps you?
That does. Thanks, man.
All right, Ben. I'll see you in the inner circle call. I think someone told me that you were jumping in the inner circle. I might be wrong, but I'll see you in the inner circle call, okay?
Sounds good, man.
See ya, brother. Bye.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed these, here's another you can watch right over here, right over here. Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're gonna help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.